So I want to be very clear here because this is something that I think a lot of people have forgotten or at least just kind of put to the back burner with regard to what's going on with this war between Ukraine and Russia. Now, when Vladimir Putin ordered Russia to invade Ukraine, it was with a calculated aim of erasing Ukraine's national identity. A key aspect of this process is Russia's systematic theft of Ukraine's children, and these plans were being made long before Russia crossed the border 3 years ago. Documents uncovered by Ukrainian human rights advocates dated before the invasion show that Russia was planning on kidnapping and deporting vulnerable Ukrainian children from occupied territories. They were going to do this under the guise of humanitarian evacuation, but the true intent was to strip Ukraine of its future by taking children who had no one to protect them, and so they executed this plan. Since then, Ukraine has confirmed the deportation of over 19,000 children, but independent estimates suggest the real number may be as high as 35,000. There are leaked documents showing that as many as 700,000 Ukrainian children have passed through Russian custody at one time or another since 2014. Maria Lvova-Belova, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court, is ironically named the Commissioner for Children's Rights in Russia, and she has openly participated in and even benefited from these kidnappings. The Kremlin's goal is to erase Ukrainian identities and turn these children into Russian citizens through adoption, re-education, and forced assimilation, which are all just fancy words used by pathetic international bodies and countries to replace the rightful term that is a war crime of kidnapping for the purpose of genocide. And yes, international law recognizes such acts as a form of genocide, yet Moscow continues to carry them out with bureaucratic precision and political fanfare within Russia, all while the US seeks to make deals with the kidnappers. It is pathetic. And if you think that it is just some mere coincidence that these children end up in Russia, understand Putin quickly created legal pathways to normalize the abductions. A decree he signed in May of 2022 allowed for the fast tracking of Russian citizenship for Ukrainian children who had been labeled as orphans or incapacitated. Incidentally, all children that were kidnapped or found by Russians were declared orphans, even those whose parents and family members were actively petitioning to get them back. Occupation authorities began moving children under the guise of sending them to camps for rest and rehabilitation to save them from the war. The war Russia started. And now we see the latest iteration of these orphan re-education camps starting up in March of this year. So yes, this is still happening. Yale researchers have identified over 40 of these camps inside Russia, and they're explicitly designed for indoctrination and courses in military training and Kremlin-approved propaganda. One of these camps is actually closer to Alaska than Ukraine, showing a deliberate effort to take these children as far away from their homeland as possible. Some of these children have been adopted by high-level Russian officials, including Lvova-Belova herself, as well as members of Russia's parliament. Make no mistake, they're not doing this because they care. They're doing it because they want to erase the Ukrainian names of these children and forge new Russian documents showing they were Russian all along, which leaves no trace for families trying to locate them. If these people really cared, they wouldn't be taking teenage boys to be redesignated as Russian so they can be conscripted and sent to the front lines in Ukraine to fight against the very people they call family. Younger children, especially infants, may grow up unaware that they were ever Ukrainian in the first place. So, just so people can understand my position clearly here, I don't consider this war to be over without the complete return of Ukraine's stolen children. Allowing Russia to keep them sets a dangerous precedent and would be considered a spoil of war, only the spoils are human, akin to slavery. It is a crime to be in a position to do something about this and remain silent, such as many governments are doing, including my own. Without the return of these children, Ukraine loses not just a generation, but part of its very soul. And though I very seriously doubt a deal is actually coming between Russia and the United States and Ukraine, any deal that comes must ensure these children are returned with verification by third parties. We cannot be weak in the face of a disgusting bully preying on the most innocent among us, so it is our duty to ensure these children get to their rightful home.